Hi, my name is Brian with Ace Appliance in Toledo, Ohio, and welcome back to another quality video from ApplianceVideo.com.
We have a Kenmore side-by-side refrigerator, and the complaint is that the water is leaking onto the floor, and the water's coming from, the water's coming from the drain tube getting built up with ice. And what we found is that the drain tube on this specific model has had a revision in the part. So the old drain tube didn't have a J-trap in it that would hold water, so that warm air wouldn't travel back through it. Our new drain tube actually has a J-trap here, or a P-trap here, that water can sit in here, so warm air can't travel back up through it. And what was happening is the warm air would travel through the original drain tube, and it was creating condensation where the warm air would mix with the cold air, and then it would freeze up that drain pan and drain tube. So to correct that, we need to install the new drain tube. The tools needed for this repair are food grade silicone sealant, extendable flex bit, flathead screwdriver, 1/4-inch nut driver, and Phillips screwdriver. Alright, so we're at the back of our refrigerator here. The drain tube is going to be located behind this back panel in the compressor compartment. So we're going to take our back panel off, and to do that, there's going to be some 1/4-inch screws to take off that are holding the panel in place. We already removed most of them. There's just going to be one left here that we're going to take out. There were 2 over here, 1 in the center, and then you got 3 across the bottom, and then 1 here. And the back panel, the top of it just goes into the back of the cabinet there. So we'll take this screw out here and remove our back panel. And our drain tube is going to be behind the fan, the condenser fan motor here. Alright, to get better access to our drain tube, we're going to take our power connector off here. And to do that, there's just going to be a clip on the front here that we need to release. We're going to use a flathead screwdriver to pull the tab out and pull the harness straight down. And we'll move that out of the way. And here's our drain tube here. Here's the old one. We'll remove this and install our new one. To remove this, the bottom of it just has a clip that it sits in. So we'll remove the drain tube out of the clip here, and then we're just going to pull it straight down out of the top here where it goes into the freezer section. Okay. So there's our old drain tube, and you can see that it would not hold any water, and it actually was designed with this hole here. So it has a hole here that would let warm air in, and then also the design of it let the warm air travel in and create condensation and would freeze up to where when our system would go into an automatic defrost, it melts the frost off the evaporator, and then the water travels down through this, drips into a drain pan that sits in the bottom of the refrigerator, and it just evaporates normally on its own. So we'll put the new drain tube on, but first we're going to have to remove the old clip that this clips into. It's mounted to the cabinet back here. This clip here has a 1/4-inch screw that mounts it in place. So I'm going to grab our flex bit to be able to get back to that. Alright, we'll save the screw. We won't need that clip anymore. The new drain tube has a built-on clip that's part of it, so we'll push this up into the freezer and put our screw back through our mounting bracket here. And what you want to do is get this bump out of the drain tube up into the grommet. There's a rubber grommet that you're going to be pushing this into, and you don't want to be able to see this anymore. You want to get it in there and it locks it into place. Alright, so you can see the symptom of our problem is all this ice buildup on the freezer floor here. It eventually builds up and then leaks out onto the floor. And that's from that drain tube getting all frozen up, and then when it goes into self-defrost and melts the ice off the evaporator, it has no place to drain because the drain tube's frozen up, so it rolls into the freezer floor here and then out onto the floor. A lot of times too, the drain tubes will just get clogged up with dust or debris over the years, and you can just run some water through the drain tube. You don't have to replace the drain tube, or some compressed air to clear it out, and that'll take care of the problem for you. But this particular one, we were also getting some condensation built up inside the unit, and the part was revised with the new drain tube, so that's why we replaced the drain tube in this case. And the old drain tube wasn't getting clogged up, it was just a matter of the condensation coming through and creating the frost, so that's why we replaced the drain tube. So what we'll do next is take the back panel off, clear all this ice out of here, and create a clear, clean path on the drain pan to the drain tube. To remove the panel, we're going to remove the 6 Phillips head screws. The back panel sits on 2 tabs at the top here. I use a flathead screwdriver to help me pry it out because it's a little frozen, get it off the tabs, and then the top up here has some tabs at the top that'll have to be brought down and released from the top panel. And then we can just get it out of the way. And next we'll just be removing all of our ice from our drain pan down here, and we'll get it out of the freezer floor here as well. I'm just going to use a flathead screwdriver and just get it all out of there. And so this is our evaporator here where all the frost builds up at, and every 8 hours or so our defrost controller or defrost timer will put it into a defrost mode where it turns the unit off, turns on this heater at the bottom here. It turns on, melts everything on the evaporator, and it's supposed to drain through this drain hole right here. Goes through the drain hole, down the drain tube, and sits into the drain pan at the bottom of the unit there, and it just evaporates normally on its own. Now that we have all the ice cleared out, we can take some hot water and put down the drain tube and make sure it's nice and cleared out. So I'm going to use a turkey baster and some hot water and force it down through the drain tube to clear any ice. Or if you just had a clog in your drain tube, you could use this method as well. You could also use some compressed air, something along those lines. You just want to make sure you don't disconnect your drain tube in the process. Alright, it looks like we broke free. It's draining good now. We'll just take some more water here and just pour down. Make sure it's draining good. And we're nice and cleared out there. The water drains down through the drain tube like it should. Now we're ready to put our back panel back on. First thing is we're going to tuck our tabs of this back panel into behind the upper back panel. Like that, and then make sure our 2 tabs in the front here come through the holes of the back panel. You can use a flathead to help those tabs come through. And we'll reinstall our screws. Another issue that can create condensation inside your refrigerator and freezer is this gasket in the back bottom corner of your refrigerator for your water reservoir. And what happens is the gasket back here will, as it'll get old and brittle, and create a gap which creates warm air where these water lines come through from the underneath side of the refrigerator from the filter, and they come through the cabinet here, and this is your water reservoir that keeps your water cold before it comes out through your dispenser. And warm air will come through this gasket that creates the warm air and the cold air mixing together and creates condensation. So to fix that, you can just use some food grade silicone and apply it to all the gaps around where the water lines come through here. So we'll just finish filling in the gaps with some silicone here to prevent any more warm air from getting through. Then to finish up our repair, we just need to connect our power harness back in. It's keyed, it'll only fit one way, and push it in until the locking tab snaps in place. And we can replace our back panel. This top edge is going to go into the lip here of the back cabinet. And that will complete our repair. In this repair, we replaced the revised drain tube that has a P-trap in it. We also cleared ice buildup from the freezer floor and drain tube or drain pan that was creating a leak onto the floor. And we applied food grade silicone sealant to the water reservoir, the hole that the water reservoir comes through at the gasket to create or to fix our condensation issue.
Thank you for watching another quality video from ApplianceVideo.com.